I have a lot of Pyrex in the video tonight, and I was doing a little research trying to come up with something interesting to talk about in Pyrex, and I came up with a website that had a 2018 10 most popular Pyrex patterns. I'm going to share that with you now. So I thought this 2018 top 10 Pyrex patterns by popularity would kind of be a fun thing to share with you, and I do have my little sheet here because I don't want to get it wrong. I'm going to start with number 10, which is the Atomic Eyes. I believe that's 1959. I do not have it. It was only a chip and dip set. It was a promotional item, and it was a very cool set. It was white with turquoise eyes. That came in at number 10. Number 9 I also don't have, which is the balloons, and the balloons were 1958, also a chip and dip set. And number 8 on the list I do have, and it's one of my favorites. It's the daisy pattern right here, and the daisy pattern came out from 1956 to 1963. Number 7 right here is the snowflake pattern. They came in actually 3 different colors. You see the white on turquoise, the turquoise on white. They also made a charcoal and white, which I have yet to find, but I'm looking for that. And that was produced between 1956 and 1967, sorry about that. Number 6 on the list is the New Dots pattern, 1969 to 1973, which I do not have. Still looking for that. Number 5 I do have, thanks to Rachel. Rainbow Stripes, 1965 to 1987. And again, remember they came in 4 different colors. Number 4, which really surprised me, and you know, this isn't my poll, this is just a poll that I read, was this piece. It's Tara, and it came out in 1964 and 1965, a very short run. And I remembered that I had this piece. I picked it up a while back because I'd never seen it before. So I'm kind of surprised that it made the list, but it did. Number 3 is the Gooseberry right here, 1957, 1966. One of my favorite patterns also. Number 2 on the list right here, and you won't be surprised, is the Amish butter print, or butter print, Amish butter print, they call it. Actually, the white on turquoise is the most popular. That was the first pattern ever to come out, 1957 to, 1957. I'm not quite sure, I'm a cheat sheet what that year ran to, but I will definitely get to that. And number 1, anybody who knows Pyrex is not going to be surprised. It's Lucky in Love, which came out in I think it was 1959, and people aren't quite sure whether it was a promotional piece or a very limited edition piece. They're almost ridiculously impossible to find. And the last one that sold on eBay, or I think almost anywhere, I think eBay for sure though, was 2015, and get ready for this, it sold for $4,250. So if you're lucky enough to find Lucky in Love, you got it made. Hope you enjoyed that. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel. Glad you're stopping in. Last week I told you I had gone to a yard sale. I don't go to them very often. It was probably the best yard sale I've ever been to. I was really excited, can't wait to show you. And I have a few other good stuff here. Not a lot of things to show you tonight, but a lot of good things to show you. Hope you enjoy. So I was telling you that I went to a yard sale last Friday. I don't really get to very many of them. I'm not really an early bird. I wish I was. Anyways, I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and the woman next door to what I was doing on Thursday was setting up for a tag sale. To make a long story short, I asked her if she had any Pyrex. She said yes. I said milk glass, and she said yes, and I was kind of hoping that she would give me a little preview, but she said they were all boxed away. And I said, well, when can I come? She said 7:30 tomorrow morning. So I was there at 7:30 on the dot. And look at what I found. The best tag sale I've ever been to. I found, well, let's start with these. I saw these casseroles. They're the Pyrex opal ware in the butter print pattern, the Amish butter print. They started production in 1957, 1968. This was one of the first patterns ever made. It is my pattern, so I was really glad to find these. They were all marked I think the two larger ones here, that's a 2 quart, this is a 1.5 pint, this is a 1.5 pint, and 2 1 pints. They were marked $3, $3, and $2. So I'm counting it all up in my head, and she kind of surprised me and just charged me $1 for each set. So I was kind of blown away by that. And then we got to talking, and she asked me if I'd be interested in any mixing bowls. She wasn't going to get rid of them, but when she saw how much I liked this print, she took me inside, and I said, yes, I'd be very interested in the mixing bowls. And she just opened up her cabinet, and there they were. I have been looking for the nesting mixing bowl set forever, and they sell for about $100 in this perfectly beautiful condition. And she sold me that entire set for $4. So I came home. I was home before 8 o'clock, and I was just beside myself. And let me tell you a little bit about Butterprint. If you're not familiar, like I said, it was the first pattern, opalware pattern, that Pyrex produced. It was one of actually a few. They also released the Pink Daisy, which you saw over on the other table, and the Snowflake, also on the other table, 1956. And I'm going to definitely hang on to the mixing bowls. I'm probably going to sell off some of the casseroles. You can see here that the lids, I'll show you, that unfortunately they suffer from detergent damage, but the casseroles are in wonderful shape. And I'm only going to keep, I think, this one, which has a chip anyways, because I don't have that one. And I might sell off the other ones because I already have enough of those. Turquoise and pink were the trending colors back in the late 1950s and the early 1960s. And the Butterprint line was part of the turquoise line, actually, which included the Snowflake and the multi-tone blue line. And Butterprint was designed by John Philip Johnson. I picked up this gorgeous casserole, covered casserole with the chafing dish. I'll put it right in here so you can see. In Goodwill, I paid $6.99 for it. I thought that was a good price. It's in perfect condition. This chafing stand probably needs a little cleaning up, but that's okay. It just says California. It doesn't even say California, excuse me. It says 128 USA underneath the lid and on the bottom. I would swear it was Bauer pottery, but I can't find any Bauer pottery with a knob or a top like this. All their knobs were solid. I did see something exactly like this in this kind of condition selling for about $30. I would say it's definitely California pottery, and I would date it to the 1950s for sure. And this right here, Bauer pottery, has the exact same chafing dish, so I wasn't really sure, but people have it listed as 128 California pottery. That's what I'm going to list this one for, and probably somewhere in the $30 range. I picked up these 3 pieces also at the yard sale. That's the only other thing I got. And this was, I paid $3 for this, and she sold it to me as a set. Although I don't really think it is a set, although I do see people selling them as a set. This obviously is a gravy boat, but this right here is a 9.5-inch oval plate. But they do make a nice set, and I might sell them off as a set. If I sell them off as a set, I'll probably ask $25. The Fiesta Scarlet Red dates to 1986 to maybe 1984. As I was leaving, she said, wait, you might want this. And I thought, oh, that's the same color as the Fiesta ware. And it is the Fiesta ware. Right on the bottom there. I have never seen a Fiesta ware vase, so this was new to me. They sell for about $30, but the older ones, the original Fiesta ware vases, the same shape, but just the original ones, they sell for hundreds of dollars. So if you come across one, look on the bottom. If it has an old date, you are in the money. I'm gonna, like I already said, about $30 for the vase. I picked up this gorgeous mid-century cigar tray, I guess, or ashtray for $2.99. You can see right there at the Salvation Army. It's 22 karat gold, and it's made by Dixon Art Studios. and it is in a weeping gold glaze, which I'll tell you about in a minute. Dixon Art Studios was made at the Belle Terre China Company in East Palestine, Ohio, and that company was founded by Belden and Terry Ham, Belle Terre being a combination of their names. And weeping gold, you might see that if you find something as gorgeous as this. This is a weeping gold glaze. Weeping gold is a gold dripping and spattered appearance and contains real gold in it. And they were produced in the 1960s, or excuse me, they started producing them in the 1940s to about the 1960s. So that's right about where I'm dating this piece. Beautiful. I'll be asking $25 for this gorgeous piece. I found this casserole the other day, $2.99 I paid for it. I picked it up because I had never seen it before. You can see the pebble background on it. You can tell right away it's glass bake. If you look really close, it does not have a J on it, which J stood for Jeanette when Jeanette owned the company. I have never seen this pattern before, and I just love the colors. It has the same pattern on the other side. Pattern's in really great shape. As you can see, the rest of it isn't. It was filthy when I picked it up. It was so filthy, I didn't even want to touch it. And this is about as clean as I've been able to get it, but there are no chips, no cracks. Anyway, I tried to look up the pattern name, and people call it blueberry, people call it huckleberry, and a lot of people simply call it blueberry huckleberry. So I'm not really sure. To me, it looks almost more like a huckleberry. Let me know what you think. But there's no definitive answer on that. And I mentioned when I showed you the back stamp that there was no J. Glass Bake, when it was owned by Jeanette, had a J on it. And before that, well, originally Glass Bake was owned by McKee in the early 1900s. And then in 1951, a Thatcher company bought them out, and McKee became a division of Thatcher from 1951 to 1961. This doesn't have a J on it. I know that Jeanette did make this pattern into the 60s. I'm going to date this to 1959 to 1961 when Jeanette bought the company. And I think this might be a transitional piece right around the time that the two companies were switching over. And I'm going to ask, it's no chips or cracks, like I said. It's more common of a pattern than I thought, even though I have never seen it. And I'm not quite sure what I'm going to ask for it yet, probably in the $8 to $10 range. I found all these pieces of Fiesta ware when I was doing some unboxing, so they've been around for a while. I am going to sell them, and I'm showing you them mixed up like this because that's how I like to set a table with Fiesta ware. I like to mix up the colors, but let me put them back where they belong while I talk to you about the colors right here. This blue right here is in the peacock color, 2005 to 2014. The yellow is the oldest piece, simply yellow, 1987 to 2002. And the lemongrass is 2009, and I think they're still producing it today. Frederick Hurton was the designer. He was an English potter that designed Fiesta back when they started production in 1936. Stopped production in 1973 to 1985, and then went back into production in 1986. Homer Laughlin was formed by Homer and his brother Shakespeare Laughlin, and they were out of West Virginia. Sorry. I walked into Salvation Army, and I usually go right to where the Pyrex and milk glass is, and I saw this way before I got there. I went over and scooped it up, and I was so glad I did. They were all together, so I really couldn't get a good visual on all the pieces, but I was so excited. I went over, sat in the corner, and looked at them as best I could, and they're all in fairly decent condition. They are the primary mixing bowls, Pyrex opalware. They date to the 1950s, and they were proclaimed at the time as the world's most famous mixing bowl set. I kind of still think they are. They actually started producing them in 1945. I think these all have the 1950s to the 1970s back stamp on them. And they sold as a set of 4. I'm missing the big yellow bowl. They did come in different colors. I know somewhere around here I have a large yellow bowl, but I do have some of these, so I'm going to be selling them off either as pieces or maybe I'm going to get together a set of 3. I'm not quite sure. They originally sold for $2.50 a set, and I'm going to tell you a little something about how to tell the difference in dates. I'm going to show you the difference between the 2 back stamps. This back stamp here is part of the set of 3 I have, and it's part of the redesign, that's what they call it. So this dates anywhere from the 1950s to the 1970s. This primary color bowl is my own personal bowl, but I did want to show you, and I'm not quite sure you can see, but I'll tell you about it anyways. If you find a logo like this, it has absolutely no numbers on it, even though it's the 400 series. It doesn't have a 401 or a 402 or 404. It has no numbers whatsoever. They're known as the no-name sets, and they're the original sets. And a lot of people, I'm going to turn it over now, show you, there's a little difference in the colors too, and the rim. You just look at it while I'm talking a little bit. A lot of people, when it comes to collecting the primary bowls, condition is everything, and condition is always everything, just about anything. But if you do have or are going to sell a set that have the no numbers on them, known as no numbers, be sure and list them that way and ask a little more, because they are worth a little more. You can see the colors are a little different and the rim's a little different also. Oh, and a fun fact I wanted to share with you on Pyrex Opalware was that the line was a collaborative effort between, Corning Glass and the U.S. government to create a sturdy, lightweight, and unbreakable dish for soldiers in World War II. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the latest haul. And before I leave, I did want to say that I love to hear from you. I hear from a lot of you. You text me, you email me, you message me. It's always my pleasure. But something's going on with my phone, and I'm losing your messages. I'll take a quick look. I'll go to respond to you, and I don't know where they're going. So don't think I'm ignoring you. If you send me a message and you don't hear from me within 2 days, please resend the message, and I'm going to respond right away before I lose it. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Most importantly, leave me a comment, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye. Tag sale. Get back to you in 2 days. Please resend me a message.